Took us forever.
Certification of compliance with open meeting law.
He's ready.
Thank you. Roll call.
Con,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Francis,
Approved minutes from July 8th, 2019, town board meeting.
Move to approve the minutes from July 18th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the July 8th, 2019 town board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion's carried. Public comment? No. Reports. Treasurer?
General fund, $120,464.43. Tax account, $2,582.82. LGIP general, $107,199.87. LGIP fire EMS, $2.69. Airport, $53,080.83. LGIP airport, 55 cents. Checks written, CenturyLink telephone, $133.13. We Energies for the town hall, $59.79. We Energies for the lights, $54. Badgerland disposal, $8,752.20. Post office stamps, $210. Northwest services, potholes and mowing, $16,929.31. Jonathan Hooper's for the cemetery, $300 even. Bender Levi Town Legal, $168.75. Jefferson County, this is for postcards and the forest land payment, $31.75. Daily Jefferson Union, it was notices for the airport hearing, $65.71. Larry Call August, $369.40. Peggy Miller August salary and supplies, $827.26. Alan Schmidt August salary, $577.19.
Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carried. Emergency management plan.
Nothing.
Fire department.
Is here.
I give a copy of just our written activity report. I left one at each of your spots up there, but just to go over it through today. The department as a whole has done 124 EMS responses, 30 of which were in the town. And then we've done a total of 27 fire calls, 13 of those were in the town. I know I haven't been here in several months, but I think I see each of you in passing enough that I think we're all on the same page as far as what's going on with the department and how things have gone. Is there anything that we need to address tonight as far as the department's operations or things like that?
I just have a question. What kind of fire calls did you have?
It varies anywhere from wildfires to, it might be a fire alarm. And some of the houses, like on Blue Spring Lake, are alarmed. So we may get fire alarm calls for some of those and so on.
So you get a call and not always have to do anything?
Correct. Sometimes it's just going in and resetting an alarm system for a citizen.
Because I couldn't remember seeing 13.
No, but you'll get, like, I think, what do we have in like a couple day period? We had like 4 wildland fires that were in the town this spring.
Grass
things like
fires.
that, yeah.
Okay.
So you get stuff like that. I don't think that we've had any kind of significant structure fires this year, if I'm remembering correctly.
I
don't think we have.
There's a couple that should have them, but.
Eddie.
This is a town assignment.
Yeah, we have.
I would
we have had a
agree.
request, actually, speaking of that, we have had a request from a property owner who's doing some significant work on their property to remove a building for them as part of like our training purposes, which we're gonna do sometime this fall. But we'll make sure that everybody's aware of that. I think we've done a good job of that in the past, making sure the board members know that we're gonna be doing an operation somewhere and so on. So that'll be down in H. Just something
Yeah, we know where it is.
Yeah, so that's going through the permitting process right now
Okay.
with the DNR.
Okay.
So I would expect that you'll see probably a pretty significant amount of training go on there first for several months, it looks like, and then we'll complete it with, the place will end up burning down during one of them.
Okay.
Thank you. Airport,
I received a storm sewer water charge from the village, because apparently they can do that since the annexation. So the first quarter was $2,579.21. It's $10,316.84 a year. That somehow we have to take care of this, and the airport commission's currently working on it, but we don't have a complete answer yet.
We're
It's
applying,
most likely gonna be split up amongst the owners. But
and we're applying for a credit, but it has to be engineered, and the BOA is working with us on that to try to get us the information we need to fill out the application that the village doesn't know what
I
this
can have it
is.
reduced up to 50%, but like Ed says, we have to have that information. And being that we're dealing with the federal government, or whoever on it, we're looking at probably a year before we get the credit part of it done.
And we don't know if the village will give us back half of it once we get the
Now,
application.
we have all kinds of questions, so I'm just sitting here with what I know at the moment. We're basically gonna be $10,000 in sewer charge, storm sewer water runoff. That's not running anywhere.
They don't really even have a storm sewer, do they?
There's nothing running onto this, there's nothing from this property running into the village.
Okay, so we're being charged to get rid of the water that falls on our property and.
And stays there.
Yeah, gets rid of,
That's always been there,
we get rid of, yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
That's the bad part. That's all I have.
Blue Spring Lake District,
Dick probably has more than I do. What day is the weed cutter celebration?
That will be Sunday evening, September 1st, the Labor Day weekend, at 5 o'clock. We're gonna commission, dedicate the new weed cutter and shore conveyor and trailer. There's a ski show to follow at 6, so it'll be right where we store the weed cutter. Maybe take it out into the shallows there, and so people can come by with their boats and so forth. Just kind of a,
Weed cutter.
yeah. Everybody is thrilled with the weed cutter. It's much more efficient. It reduced the floaters by 75%. We're getting some fuel economies. The beat just goes on. Every time Trapper Dick is on it, he discovers something new that he's happy about.
New toy.
can you use it for water skiing?
Close.
For old people,
Close. Yeah.
For all people,
Drag 'em across
just
the-
trolling.
you can drag them.
Have you named it yet?
I don't know that we're gonna name it.
How about Titanic?
Pricey. Pricey, that's a good name for it.
Building inspector,
We have permit applications for Ed and Colleen Dion for deck. Another one for Ed and Dion, deck and shed. Jim Hanus, it's a revision, it's an addition for a single family, instead of one bathroom, he wants two. And Bruce Umdahl is for a shed for storage.
highway,
We're done with all the requested work at this point, waiting for weeds to grow or snow to come.
We're not having any more this year.
And just off the record, we have the same thing at the high school. We pay $2,000 a year for the water runoff from our property, you know, it comes off Burr Oak Street, runs underneath the roads and the culverts onto our property, but we pay for that, so. And again, yeah, we couldn't do anything about it.
No, there's nothing you can do, you gotta pay it. They have
You
the
get
legal
it
right to
reduced by
do that.
50%?
I think we did, I think they originally came out with like 4,000, and we're down to 2, but, yeah, we talked to our lawyer about it, and he said there's just some things you don't wanna touch. It can cause bigger problems.
Do you know all the places that got patched by Ron's crew?
I don't know, I've been off for surgery, so.
Okay, cause I was out looking at the railroad crossing on Boland and there was a bunch of patching done on it. It was his kind of work, it looked really nice, but that wasn't ours, that's the railroad's.
Okay.
So I know he patched some of the village stuff on Blue Spring Lake Drive too. But I didn't see it till after the fact, and I thought it's not worth raising a stink about. But some of this stuff, like that railroad, it looked like it was kinda intensive work.
Okay, I'll let him know that, and next time I check with you before he does any of that, so.
Yeah, tell him to give me a call or whatever, it was a real nice looking job, that's why I think he did it,
Okay,
but it's not ours.
all right, I'll let him know.
Correspondence,
None.
new business. Discuss and possible action concerning adoption of a compliance assurance plan for an effective recycling program under SNR 544.04, parent 9, parent G of the Wisconsin Administrative Code.
So you guys got a copy of the compliance assurance plan? Is it here, Peggy?
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in this, that too? Oh, so you've seen that, yeah. And all we have to do with this is just adopt it, we don't have to read it. It just, this kind of goes along with the ordinance, which apparently you have to read.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adopt this, the responsible unit compliance assurance plan for an effective recycling program.
I'll second that.
been moved and seconded to adopt the compliance assurance plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. Motion carried. Discuss and act, possible action concerning adoption of WDNR responsible unit recycling ordinance.
Okay, we have to have this. The last one was done, boy, 80s, 81?
Kathy, do you
Kathy,
remember?
you remember? Way, 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 way back. And last year, and the DNR has been on us to get this done, and I kind of dropped the ball last year because the first one we had that we looked at didn't have a fine in it, and so they wouldn't approve it because we have to have some way to enforce this. So this one does have an enforcement clause. Along with that, we have to have this cap that's called compliance assurance plan, just explaining how we're gonna go about enforcing, what we're gonna do with this thing. So, since it's an ordinance, do we have to read the whole thing, Peggy? Larry, there's no attorney here.
We've always read them.
I guess we gotta, all right.
Who can read fast?
Since I've read it, I'll probably read it pretty fast. Town of Palmyra, Wisconsin ordinance number 2019-01. Title, Recycling Ordinance for the Town of Palmyra, Wisconsin. Purpose, the purpose of this ordinance is to promote recycling and resource recovery through the administration of an effective recycling program as provided in S 287-11 Wisconsin Stats and Chapter NR 544 Wisconsin Administrative Code. Statutory authority, this ordinance is adopted as authorized under S 287-09 parent 3 parent B Wisconsin Stats. Abrogation and greater restrictions. It is not intended by this ordinance to repeal, abrogate, annul, impair, or interfere with any existing rules, regulations, ordinances, or permits previously adopted or issued pursuant to law. However, whenever this ordinance imposes greater restrictions, the provisions of this ordinance shall apply. Interpretation. In their interpretation and application, the provisions of this ordinance shall be held to be the minimum requirements and shall not be deemed a limitation or repeal of any other power granted by the Wisconsin statutes. Where any terms or requirements of this ordinance may be inconsistent or conflicting, the more restrictive requirements or interpretation shall apply. Where a provision of this ordinance is required by Wisconsin statutes or by a standard in Chapter NR 544 Wisconsin Administrative Code, and where the ordinance provision is unclear, the provision shall be interpreted in light of the Wisconsin statutes and Chapter NR 544 standards in effect on the date of the adoption of this ordinance, or in effect on the date of the most recent text amendment to this ordinance. Severability. Should any portion of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected. Applicability. The requirements of this ordinance apply to all persons within the town of Elmira, Wisconsin. Administration. The provisions of this ordinance shall be administered by the town board of the town of Elmira, Wisconsin. Effective date. The provisions of this ordinance shall take effect on publication or posting. Definitions. For the purpose of this ordinance, bimetal container means a container for carbonated or malt beverages that is made primarily of a combination of steel and aluminum. Container board means corrugated paperboard used in the manufacture of shipping containers and related products. Foam polystyrene packaging means packaging made primarily from foam polystyrene that satisfies one of the following criteria. Is designed for serving food or beverages, consists of loose particles intended to fill space and cushion a packaged article in a shipping container. C, consists of rigid material shaped to hold and cushion the packaged article in a shipping container. Glass container means a glass bottle, jar, or other packaging container used to contain a product that is the subject of a retail sale and does not include ceramic cups, dishes, ovenware, plate glass, safety and window glass, heat-resistant glass such as Pyrex, lead-based glass such as crystal or TV tubes. HDPE means high-density polyethylene labeled by the SPI Code 2. LDPE means low-density polyethylene labeled by the SPE Code 4. Magazines means magazines and other materials printed on similar paper. Major appliance means a residential or commercial air conditioner, clothes dryer, clothes washer, dishwasher, freezer, microwave oven, refrigerator, furnace, boiler, dehumidifier, water heater, or stove. Multiple family dwelling means a property containing 5 or more residential units, including those which are occupied seasonally. Newspaper means a newspaper, and other materials printed on newsprint. Non-residential facilities and properties means commercial, retail, industrial, institutional, and government facilities and properties. This term does not include multiple family dwellings. Office paper means high-grade printing and writing papers from offices and non-residential facilities and properties. Printed white ledger paper and computer printout are examples of office paper generally accepted as high-grade. This term does not include industrial process waste. Other resins or multiple resins means plastic resins labeled by the SPI Code 7. Person includes any individual, corporation, partnership, association, local, or federal agency. PETE or PET means polyethylene terephthalate, that one I never did.
Okay.
Labeled by the SPI Code 1. Plastic container means an individual, separate, rigid plastic bottle, can, jar, or carton, except for a blister pack that is originally used to contain a product that is the subject of a retail sale. Post-consumer waste means solid waste as defined in S291.01, parent 7, Wisconsin Stats. PP means polypropylene, labeled by the SPI Code number 5. PS means polystyrene, labeled by the SPI Code 6. PVC means polyvinyl chloride, labeled by the SPI Code 3. Recyclable materials includes lead acid batteries, major appliances, waste oil, yard waste, aluminum containers, corrugated paper or other container board, foam polystyrene packaging, glass containers, magazines, newspaper, office paper, rigid plastic containers, including those made of PETE, HDPE, PVC, LDPE, PP, PS, and other resins or multiple resins, steel containers, waste tires, and bimetal containers. Solid waste has the meaning specified in S289.01, parent 33, Wisconsin Stats. Solid waste facility has the meaning specified in S289.01, parent 35, with Stats. Solid waste treatment means any method, technique, or process which is designed to change the physical, chemical, or biological character or composition of solid waste. Treatment includes incineration. Waste tire means a tire that is no longer suitable for its original purpose because of wear, damage, or defect. Yard waste means leaves, grass clippings, and yard and garden debris and brush. Electronic waste means electronic items no longer suitable for their intended use, such as television sets, computers, computer monitors, radios, walkie-talkies, and cell phones. Invasive species plant material means plants on the WDNR invasive species list. Plastic shopping bags means bags meant for handling of purchased items such as groceries or other retail merchandise. 1.11, separation of recyclable materials. Occupants of single-family and 2 to 4 unit residences, multiple family dwellings, and non-residential facilities and properties shall separate the following materials from post-consumer waste. Lead acid batteries, major appliances, waste oil, yard waste, aluminum containers, bimetal containers, corrugated paper or other container board, foam polystyrene packaging, glass containers, magazines, newspaper, office paper, rigid plastic containers made of PETE, HDPE, PVC, LDPE, PP, PS, and other resins or multiple resins, steel containers, waste tires, electronic waste, invasive species plant material, plastic shopping bags. 1.12, care of separated recyclable materials. To the greatest extent practicable, the recyclable materials separated in accordance with S 1.11 shall be clean and kept free, let's see, too picky. Kept free of contaminants such as food or product residue, oil or grease or other non-recyclable materials, including but not limited to household hazardous waste, medical waste, and agricultural chemical containers. Recyclable materials shall be stored in a manner which protects them from wind, rain, and other inclement weather conditions. Management, 1.13, management of lead acid batteries, major appliances, waste oil, and yard waste. Lead acid batteries shall be returned to the store that sells batteries. Stores that sell batteries give a discount on new battery if old battery is returned. 2, major appliances shall be set out for garbage collection on bulk collection day. A call must be made to contracted residential collection service in advance. Yard waste shall be disposed of by resident, preferably by composting. Preparation and collection of recyclable materials, except as otherwise directed by town's contracted waste hauler and this ordinance, occupants of single-family and 2 to 4 unit residences shall do the following for preparation and collection of the separated materials specified in S 1.11, parent 5 through parent 15. I think it should be through parent 14. Check that one, Peggy, I think maybe that should be parent 14. Aluminum containers should be placed in recycling bin or taken to an aluminum collection facility. I think everybody realizes there are can collection areas around that people use for fundraisers. That's an acceptable way to get rid of aluminum. Bimetal containers shall be placed in the recycling bin. Corrugated paper or other container board shall be flattened and placed in the recycling bin. Foam polystyrene packaging shall be placed in the recycling bin. Glass containers shall be rinsed and placed in the recycling bin. Magazines shall be bundled and placed in the recycling bin. A nice way to handle them is just putting them in a paper shopping bag. Newspapers shall be bundled and placed in the recycling bin. Same thing. Office paper shall be shredded and or bagged in a recyclable bag and placed in a recycle bin. Rigid plastic containers shall be prepared and collected as follows. A, plastic containers made of PETE shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. B, plastic containers made of HDPE shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. C, plastic containers made of PVC shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. D, plastic containers made of LDPE shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. E, plastic containers made of PP shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. F, plastic containers made of PS shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. And G, plastic containers made of other resins or multiple resins shall be rinsed and placed in a recycle bin. 10, steel containers shall be placed in garbage area for pickup on bulk garbage day or taken to a licensed recycling business. Resident must call ahead for bulk pickup. Waste tires may be set in garbage pickup area to be picked up on bulk pickup day. 2 tires per month may be picked up. Resident must call ahead to arrange for pickup. Electronic waste may be set in garbage pickup area to be picked up on bulk pickup day. Resident must call ahead for bulk pickup. Invasive plant material may be placed in plastic garbage bag and put into the regular garbage bin for pickup. And our garbage hauler takes that. So if you've got garlic mustard or something like that, you can pull it, put it in a garbage bag and put it in the regular garbage. Plastic shopping bags should be returned to collection sites at area grocery stores or other retail stores. Most stores have a receptacle for this purpose. They don't belong in the recycling bin. They're recyclable, but they can't sort them. So don't put them in that. Responsibilities of owners or designated agents of multiple family dwellings. Owners or designated agents of multiple family dwellings shall do all of the following to recycle the materials specified in S 1.115 through 8, parent 5 through parent 18. For A, provide adequate separate containers for the recyclable materials. B, notify tenants in writing at the time of renting or leasing the dwelling that at least semi-annually thereafter about the established recycling program. C, provide for the collection of the materials separated from the solid waste by the tenants and the delivery of the materials to a recycling facility. D, notify tenants of reasons to reduce and recycle solid waste, which materials are collected, how to prepare the materials in order to meet the processing requirements, collection methods or sites, locations and hours of operation, and a contact person or company, including a name, address, and telephone number. And this is put in here separately by the state. This is one of the requirements because, our town doesn't provide residential service for businesses or apartment buildings or that kind of thing. So anyone more than a two-family unit is, a four-family unit above, they have to provide this themselves. Town's not obligated to do that. 2, the requirements specified in parent 1 do not apply to the owners or designated agents of multiple family dwellings if the post-consumer waste generated within the dwelling is treated at a processing facility licensed by the Department of Natural Resources that recovers for recycling the materials specified in S 1.115 through 18. Responsibility of owners or designated agents of non-residential facilities and properties. 1, owners or designated agents of non-residential facilities and properties shall do all of the following to recycle the materials specified in S 1.11, parent 5 through parent 18. A, provide adequate separate containers for the recyclable materials. B, notify in writing at least semi-annually all users, tenants, and occupants of the properties about the established recycling program. C, provide for the collection of the materials separated from the solid waste by the users, tenants, and occupants, and the delivery of the materials to a recycling facility. D, notify users, tenants, and occupants of reasons to reduce and recycle, which materials are collected. To prepare materials in order to meet the processing requirements, collection methods or sites, locations and hours of operation, and a contact person or company, including a name, address, and telephone number. 2, the requirements specified in 1 do not apply to the owners or designated agents of non-residential facilities and properties if the post-consumer waste generated within the facility or property is treated at a processing facility licensed by the Department of Natural Resources that recovers for recycling the materials specified in 1.11, parent 5 through parent 18, from solid waste in as pure a form as is technically feasible. Finally, 1.18, enforcement. For the purpose of ascertaining compliance with the provisions of this ordinance, any authorized officer, employee, or representative of the town of Palmyra, Wisconsin may inspect recyclable materials separated for recycling, post-consumer waste intended for disposal, recycling collection sites and facilities, collection vehicles, collection areas of multiple family dwellings and non-residential facilities and properties, and any records relating to recycling activities which shall be kept confidential when necessary to protect the proprietary information. No person may refuse access to any authorized officer, employee, or authorized representative of the town of Palmyra, Wisconsin. 2, any person who violates a provision of this ordinance may be issued a citation by the town of Palmyra to collect forfeitures. The issuance of a citation shall not preclude proceeding under any other ordinance or law relating to the same or any other matter. Proceeding under any other ordinance or law relating to the same or any other matter shall not preclude the issuance of a citation under this paragraph. 3, penalties for violating this ordinance may be assessed as follows. A, well, I guess we didn't need the A, B. Any person who violates any section of this ordinance may be required to forfeit $50 for a first violation, $200 for a second violation, and not more than $2,000 for a third violation.
The last page is, I printed the whole thing just to show the signature.
Okay. So, yeah, the only thing following this is just the signature of that.
There are a couple things that, could I point out?
Sure.
In 1.09, it says publication or posting.
Yeah, take out.
We have to publish.
Right, take out posting. I had to type this off the state's.
Well, should I take out posting or should I
Yeah,
put
take
in
out posting, just
or?
it shall take effect on publication.
Okay. And then oh, for the tires.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a limit on how many
I
tires?
called and they said they take 2 a month, but you have to call ahead.
Okay.
And they take them on bulk garbage day.
Right. I know that it was 2 a month, but I thought they took only so many, you know, like 6 per year or something.
She didn't say, she just said 2 a month,
Okay.
so. I guess if they told us, and we don't have, we don't.
Well, that's fine, I mean,
Yeah,
if you
that's-
called and that's what she said, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to pass this ordinance number 2019-1 for recycling.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt WDNR, recycling ordinance, number 2019-1. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carried. Discussion concerning closure of the road from Beaton's Lane to Marsh Road, or railroad, crossing closing.
Okay, Friday I met with Tom Running. He's a consultant from Rail Crossing Safety Analysis. And they want us to close Lowland Road from Beaton's to Marsh, or Marsh to Beaton's, at least down to Ralph's driveway. Because they're gonna put in the welded steel rail, and they're gonna increase the train speeds from 25 to 40 miles an hour. And he said the 40 miles an hour is what triggers, that we'd have to have an active warning device, which is the gates and the wigwams. And it just so happened while we were standing there talking about it, somebody ran the stop sign. So the voluntary closing, the town would receive $15,000 immediately. He didn't say if there was more, he just said the $15,000. If we don't voluntarily close it, the Office of Commissioners of Railroads could close it and we would receive nothing. And again, if we didn't close it, we would have to put the active warning device up, which he said costs $250,000.
And we'd have to pay for that, correct?
No,
They would?
they would. But because there's a little bend there, and he wants to come next month to the meeting so we can ask him more questions. This is just kind of a quick summary, so you guys can go look at the stuff if you want, whatever. Watunsky Road's got a little bend to it just before the other way. And I don't know if they're gonna put one there, and that road, I know they can't close. He also suggested we get an AWD put on Marsh Road, because that's the hardest one to see of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that we would have to petition the state for. And to close this road, we would have to have a public hearing and do whatever to abandon a road. I have the public number for the railroad contact, or the telephone number for the railroad's public contact. And they put a counter out there, and one day they had 84 vehicles, 2 of which were semis.
Belong on there anyway.
Nope. So, his recommendation is for us to close the road.
Are you closing the entire road?
No, from
Beaton's to Marsh.
Okay.
Beaton's to Marsh, or from Ralph's driveway, but he could have a private driveway that little ways. The road itself, we wouldn't tear it up, we just put
Yeah, just be a dead
barriers
end
on,
road.
barriers
Okay.
on the end. He was looking into it, there's no owners that are on both sides of the tracks. So that was one of the reasons they could do it with the closing. If it's leased land, that's something that falls under a different category as ownership, and that they would have to deal with in, with their leasing. So he's gonna come and tell us. I wouldn't make a decision right now anyway, because we don't need to. It's just, it's out there. I know a lot of people from Blue Spring Lake use it as a shortcut, and they're gonna lose it, but it's a couple minutes. So it's not the end of the world. That would be one less road we have to do a lot of work on. The Roland Road's in pretty bad shape.
Do you think they're gonna increase the train traffic on that too?
that's what he said, that there will be more trains and faster trains.
They've told us the same thing too, because we've been working with them for a couple of years now on some of the crossings in the village. And that's what we're hearing from them too, bigger, longer, faster, and more often,
Will they go that fast through the village?
yes.
Like they do in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, right, I was gonna say, I know they do it on one.
Did they fix all of the cross, roads?
I don't think they've done the projects that they need to do yet for it.
Cause I know they wanted to close a couple of them, didn't they?
Yeah, and I don't know where we're at with some of those at this point. It's been an ongoing discussion for a couple of years now with them.
But you're gonna have to put up some, they're gonna have to put up some of those AWDs in the village too, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know the particulars on the village, but I know that we're gonna see that traffic. Basically, they're gonna come out of Milwaukee and get up to speed and maintain that speed all the way to Janesville, I think.
So anyway, Tom running as a consultant, he wants to be on our September agenda. And he can explain better at that point. And, you know, then we'll have to set up, then they're not gonna do the work till next year, so we've got time to set up our public hearing. Does the village have to have any for abandonment?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't been at some of the more recent meetings, so I'm not sure where we're at with it.
Okay, I don't know if that's something that we could do together or not, probably not. But it's for the same reason.
I would think it'd have to be specific to the road.
I would
Well,
think,
yeah.
I could think you could have them both at the, have one and then the next right together.
Right
So
together or something.
everybody can attend the same meeting and
Yeah.
just have one board and then the next board.
So that's all I got about this.
Is Marsh Road gonna get a warning device then?
We would have to petition the state to do that, or the railroad commission. But it wouldn't cost us, it would be on their dime. Because the land is owned by the state. I think he said it was 50 feet either side of the tracks.
The right of way?
The right of way.
Is that it?
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay, and then there's a reminder, August 17th, 9 AM at the high school. The advisory vote for the town is going to request or inform the electorate about a plan to borrow money for road repair.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We move in second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? No? Motion carried. Meeting's adjourned.